We only have one signed up. Welcome, Mr. Carter, Rex Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff. My name is Rex Carter. I reside at 10308 Reedy Creek Road, Bristol, in the Benhams area. At the last couple of meetings, the subject of overtime compensation was brought before you for deputies of the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Now, first, I am in support of compensation for our men and women when the circumstances allows, to have them to whether extend their shift due to an emergency or other call for service when shifts are shorthanded. We need to take care of those who take care of us. I agree. Second, with proper oversight and management, overtime funds will serve their purpose to fairly pay for services rendered in the line of duty. As a taxpayer of Washington County, my concern is the lack of foresight and budgetary restraint of the Sheriff's Office. The office has never paid overtime compensation, as you know, except for DMV grants, interstate enforcement, and special assignments requiring services. Of course, we remember the Glade Spring tornado of, I think it was 2011. And I'm not in support of overworking our deputies. They need family time and time off to decompress from the stress of a dangerous job. So with that, all I ask is I have just some observations that I would like for the board to consider on the March 28th meeting as this issue comes before you. First, is there a better way to conduct time management for existing 12-hour shifts that would keep the cost down? The simple time management by mid-level supervisors would alleviate this concern. And as the Board of Supervisors, you're tasked to ask this question, especially in the latter half of a budget year. Now, secondly, well, is this department, this agency, are they going to pay overtime on a 171-hour cycle, which is the 28 days worked, or are they basing it on a specific shift during a week? Now, to give more depth to this issue, the definition of the Fair Labor Standards Act pertaining to law enforcement, it can be found under Title 29 of the United States Code, with the portions relating specifically to public employees in Subtitle B, Chapter 5, Subchapter A, Part 553. You see, law enforcement employees have an overtime threshold under the Fair Labor Standard Act of 43 hours if you're counting by a 7-day period if it's used, or 86 hours for a 14-day period, or 171 hours for a 28-day pay period. And this includes all employees with traditional law enforcement duties who have arrest and law enforcement powers and have completed a special course of training such as the Police Academy. Well, this does include jailers who may not be sworn, but does not include clerks, dispatchers, or other non-sworn employees. If an employee is classified as exempt, as you know, they are typically salaried and not eligible for overtime. Most of these are management or executive level employees. To be considered an exempt employee, as you know, the employee must be paid at least $23,600 per year and perform mainly management or executive duties. They must regularly supervise at least 2 other employees, have management as their primary duty, and have a genuine job input such as hiring and firing and promotion assignment into the jobs of others. Now, we know that overtime compensation does not have to be paid in cash, does not have to be paid in wages. A law enforcement agency can require employees to be compensated with comp time at the same 1.5 rate for every hour or fraction of an hour worked. The agency can also place a cap on those comp time hours up to 480 hours. So to work over the 171-hour rule, as here in the county, well, that's the basis of the Garcia rule. The rules governing the use of the 207 or 207K, as referred to, exemption, sometimes called the 7K, can be found in the U.S. Code 29 CFR Section 553.200 and 553.223. Now, this exemption allows employers to compute overtime for law enforcement based on extended work schedules, usually 28 days. Under 207K, non-exempt law enforcement officers must work 171 hours in 28 days before the employer becomes liable for overtime. So in other words, law enforcement hours up to and including 171 are paid in the employee's straight rate. We know this. But third, is there a more efficient way to use this money? Is there a way to meet in the middle and have overtime and add personnel? There is. If the budget is increased at taxpayer expense, then why not have more personnel to decrease response time and increase services? The year-end budget from the last meeting that y'all had, the amount from 2022 showed more than $500,000 in the traffic enforcement fund for the sheriff's office. Can this not be used to fund this? Proper budgetary allocations and management with strict overtime policy guidelines would be needed and much welcomed to have this plan be successful. Again, I am for fair compensation to include overtime, but I'm against working personnel shorthanded when they need time off and time with their family. Thank you. I had one last statement, but I'll end right there.
Sorry, you can finish if you want with brief.
So as you conduct the county's financial business with oversight and input, I simply ask this: as a tax-paying citizen of Washington County, I urge you to carefully consider this plan, the implication and oversight of increasing budgets, and to ask questions, to be fully informed when seeking taxpayer money to fund this next month and into the next fiscal year.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman, thank you, sir.
Thank
Board,
you.
Thank you.